1, 2, 3. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Plutonium Show.
Welcome. Episode 97, which I am more than 97% sure of now.
Oh, finally.
Yes, I double check, triple check.
After 3 years.
It's not that I don't check. It's that I'll look at it, but then, there's other things on my mind. And I'm like, oh, wait, was it? And I doubt myself, so.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Thank you all for joining us. Hope you had a good weekend. We did. And let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Starting off with wow. From royalty to polo and cooking on Netflix. I mean, there have been lots of, articles and posts about her jam and whatnot. I'm not going to talk about that. But just from, a broad level, I mean, get this. This is the blurb. This is like the tagline or whatever it is, the synopsis for her new show, Meghan. Meghan says her new show will be about the joys of cooking, gardening, entertaining, and friendship. And I'd like to know what qualifies her in every single one of these categories.
Exactly my thoughts. This is the polar opposite of all of those words. The exact opposite. How many friends does Meghan have that she hasn't had to pay?
Seriously, who don't benefit off of her somehow?
Who aren't also ladder climbers, and
yeah.
Ladder climbers are not friends with ladder climbers. They're using each other.
Absolutely.
That's how it works. That's not friendship. Cooking.
I remember that video I showed you recently.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen this? I will probably be putting it up here. There is this old clip of hers. I don't know if it's from 2015, 16, maybe even 14. It was definitely pre-Harry, where she's on this cooking show that, I've never heard about. For this cooking show, she made toast. I was in such a state of disbelief. I just kept cackling the whole time. Well, not cackling, but I was seriously having a hearty laugh. And she's being so kind of earnest about it. I'll put up a clip where she says, the host says something about fancy toast, and this is Meghan's response.
It doesn't have to feel overwhelming. Like fancy, I think sometimes people feel like that's really daunting, but it's not.
So basically it's when she said, oh yeah, but you shouldn't be overwhelmed. Have you ever heard of being overwhelmed at making toast?
I mean, look, when you even start with that, it's toast. Children know how to make toast. And I mean, very small children know how to make toast.
If this is the level of cooking we can expect, where you dump a bunch of ricotta and some jam spread or whatever, it's her specialty now, apparently, on a piece of toast, let me just say,
yeah, go.
This is what I mean when, what everyone means. And I made a video about this whole topic of how these elites are given a platform when there are far more people who are unknown, who actually are amazing chefs.
Yeah.
And they would never be offered this opportunity by Netflix.
Yep, absolutely. Because Netflix isn't looking for talent. They're looking for clicks. Sound familiar? Netflix is just a different version of any other platform that's looking for traffic. They just want people to get in, and even if it's a train wreck, that's the worst part. It's like, even if it's a bad movie, people are still going to rock up and see the movie and give us our money, because unfortunately quality is not the bar anymore for any of these things. What I wanted to say was, when you show me that video, you showed it to me without any context. You said, oh my God, oh my goodness, look at this. And so I genuinely thought that was the first thing she was doing in her new thing.
Yes.
I was like, oh, she's starting with toast. Oh, wow. So it fits the brand.
It absolutely does. I mean, she is really trying hard with marketing her jam, sending it to her friends and forcing them basically to post it on their Instagram. So, yeah. And then entertaining. Wait, where was it? Yeah, gardening. Look.
It was a one-time on Oprah where she was near a garden, I guess.
Pretty much. I don't know. You tell me. Is there something I'm missing? People who know more about her background? Is she some kind of an expert in gardening? Or is she hosting the show and maybe people are cooking and maybe people are gardening and maybe people are entertaining and enjoying their friendships, because she has no business in any of these things. It doesn't add up.
If it's going to be anything like her podcast, then it's going to be another matter of, well, here's this really interesting person that we could hear from, but let's hear from Meghan instead, because she has to inject herself into everything. And look, I know it's natural for podcasts to go back and forth and have a conversation, but Meghan never had a conversation.
No, she had a monologue.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, for most of the interviews, she wasn't even there. She was pre-recorded, and she'd send off her producers to actually do the interviews. Look, all we can say is good luck to you, Meghan. You don't exactly have a very impressive track record, but wow, this is what a royal duchess has amounted to.
I thought about it actually as we started the episode. It's funny how I get into the headspace and then I get an epiphany. If Catherine was doing a cooking show, if she was like, I'm going to just do a little series, I just feel like doing it.
She never would.
She never would, but hypothetically, in a scenario where she did, where she wanted, I don't know, the brand, I guess, would be more of like, I'm one of you type thing. I think it would be genuine, and I think it would actually be nice, So it's another matter of, it's not even the fact that it's a royal stooping down to the level of cooking show. It's more that it's Meghan. It's going to flop. It's going to fail.
Well, what I meant was she left royalty. She quit it to do this.
Exactly.
After 4 years.
Yeah. And this is the billionth attempt at trying to get attention that isn't directed at her being, well, for lack of a better word, silly.
Next, we have, speaking of silly, I mean, isn't that a synonym for Prince Harry? He's got this polo show. And the first thing when I found out and told you over breakfast, I was like, wait. So this person and Netflix actually think that it's a good idea to make a documentary about a sport that the 1% of the 1% can even afford to play?
Yeah, it's a little bit on the nose, isn't it?
It's like, wow, talk about flexing. I mean, he's clearly picked it up from his wife. I mean, maybe Harry was always a flexer, but he did seem like he was a little bit on the humble side, and he didn't, he doesn't cover himself in labels and logos. And there's even a joke that he has one gray blazer that he wears everywhere. Yeah. So it's not on brand for him, but yeah, that's what they can come up with. And of course, that's also eliciting a lot of vitriol from animal rights activists and organizations, because I mean, we all know what happens to polo ponies. Look, I don't know what happens to them after the fact, and if anyone knows, please tell us. Yes, please. Because from my understanding, they like using them young because they're just quicker and lighter, and just for whatever reason, they're more advantageous. But then what happens to them as they age out? Do they go off to the magical farm where they're never heard of again? Or do they actually get to live a full life? Or are they expendable? The crazy thing is, Prince Harry's been known to even, what are they called? Spurs. He wears spurs in his shoes. Yep. So he can really hurt his horse. And there are photos of him in a white pony with injuries on its side. And then in another instance, this is really upsetting, actually. He insisted on riding his pregnant pony or pregnant horse. I don't know if, I guess maybe ponies can get pregnant. And she had a heart attack and died. I mean... Yeah. Prince of England, everybody. Yeah, that's Prince Harry. This is Prince Harry. This is, was this before or after Meghan? I think it was before Meghan. I mean... It was before Meghan. And William was distraught because I think William also really loved that pony. And people told him, don't use her. Yeah, she's pregnant. People probably told him not to marry Meghan too. Look how that turned out. It's just appalling. It reminds me of that photo from their Netflix docuseries of her dog. His name is Guy. And he had his two front legs broken in casts when they got engaged. And everyone was like, what? We've had pets, not owned. We have pets. We have cats. And you've had a dog growing up almost, all your life by the time you're a teenager. Never broke a leg. It's bizarre. I'm not saying it's impossible. Of course it's not impossible, but two of them? Yeah, that's really crazy. What were you doing to your dog that made it break two legs? Because, I mean, we're talking about two people who clearly don't care about other people, let alone animals. Oh, yeah. She left her first dog with God knows who. We've never heard or seen of Bogart again. And you'd think if she left it with friends, or it's like something tells me she may have given it off to a shelter where they put them to sleep.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's exactly the sort of heartless thing she would do.
It's just horrible. And why? Because he didn't take to Harry. He didn't like Harry. It's like, well, maybe you should have trusted his judgment.
You know, much like people, sometimes animals need a little bit of extra time. You know? So I wouldn't. Yeah, no. Maybe the dog just knew a bad person when they saw it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I will say one good thing that's come out of Meghan's, American rancid or Riviera. American rancid orchard.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's not like she knows how to run an orchard.
One good thing is that it's led to King Charles's Highgrove, I believe it's his brand of equivalent jam or whatnot, to sell out.
Because people are like, oh, I wanted something actually produced by a royal, not a pretend Marion.
Pretty much. It boosted sales, and they've been like skyrocketing for King Charles.
See, this is exactly what I was talking about with if Catherine did a cooking show. Because King Charles having a brand, like if he really enjoys jam and, you know, he really enjoys this type of food, and you're a royal, why wouldn't you invest in it, you know? Yeah.
No, for sure. He even has a bunch of, this is from back in the 90s, but it's still going now, biscuits and cookies. And so, he's been affiliated. He doesn't stamp his actual name on it.
Yeah, well, you don't need to.
Exactly.
You're not Meghan.
Exactly. It's really, look, as the French say, very déclassé. But that's Megan's brand, you know. It's ironic because she has that number plate on her car when she was a kid. Classy girl.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to say it, if you have to put it on your car.
Exactly. I don't think Catherine's ever had to refer to herself as classy. She just is.
She just is. Next, we have this really just have a look. I don't have words. Meghan posing with Abigail Spencer, of course, who also, helped merch her jam. And this lady who I've never heard of before, Kelly Zachfin? Is that how you say her name?
Zajfen.
Just sounds like Zachfin to me. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Putting on a very unconvincing display of what I like to call, and I'm sure I didn't invent this term, performative motherhood. So her friend Kelly Zachfin is apparently a charity chief, and these shirts were made to promote Alliance of Moms, which, okay, fine, whatever. You want to do that. But why pick Meghan Markle of all people?
Of all people. The person who we just displayed couldn't even take care of a dog.
That's the impression we're getting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all know that no one sees their kids, and you could say, well, they want privacy for their kids, which is fair enough. I guess that's the only answer they have going for them. It's like, no, we said we wanted privacy for our children and we're giving it to them, and now you're all complaining. Fair enough. If that's their angle, then good for them. Keep up with the privacy, hopefully until the kids are 18 and they can decide whether to be in the public eye or not. But apart from that, I would have thought that a mother, I've never been a mother, but of course I've had one. We all know, we know what mothers are. You don't have to be one to be qualified to talk about them. I would have thought that maybe pick someone who actually lives with her children.
That would be something, because we don't see her children, but we see plenty of evidence of her traveling the world and being on the opposite side of the globe away from her children, which any decent mother worth the wait would know. You don't really do that with your kids. You don't separate from them, especially during the formative years when you should be with them as much as humanly possible. That's not what you do. I
think the only saving grace is if the nannies are any good, they would be raising the children, and who knows, they might come out relatively balanced and down to earth because of that.
Maybe I'm hoping Meghan hired nannies that were the complete opposite of her, so she wouldn't feel threatened. So maybe because they're the complete opposite of her, they'll be raised well. Maybe.
Yeah. So, I just found that really ironic. I'm not going to linger too much on this one, but love like a mother. Performative motherhood, ladies and gentlemen. Meghan's forte, isn't it, as an actress?
Just because you give birth doesn't mean you're a good mother. You gave birth. Congratulations, everyone on the planet can do that. Every mammal, it's a thing. I
do have to say, we don't know for a fact whether she's, a good mother when she's around her children or not. We don't want to, make assumptions in that area. It's just based on the evidence available to all of us. We have arrived at an opinion that, I don't know, at most you're an absentee mother.
And that's pretty bad, because here's the other thing too. Flip the genders. Absentee father. Oh, not another one. Another absentee father, right? We've heard that story a million times.
Well, Prince Harry's also always traveling with her, so he's definitely one of them.
But why would someone then defend this and go, oh, no, it's okay because Meghan can do it, right? And like, I'm, I guess, imagining a Sussex squad member going, oh, well, Meghan can be away from her. No, neither parents should be away from their children during the formative years.
For so long.
Exactly.
So long.
And immediately after she gave birth, from what I remember.
Oh, yeah, no, it was like a few months later, yeah, she went off to the US Open to watch Serena and flirt with her husband and flirt with her coach and
what,
be ignored by Serena's mother.
And what decent mother would leave their child to go and to an event like that? It's one thing to go down the road in your local and, you know, hang out with friends for one night with a babysitter, right? Everyone's going to need a break in some sort of parenting environment, but to fly away, that's intense. I
think what fascinates me too is how she puts herself in the line of fire with these performances. See, we personally, and a lot of people, you sometimes don't, you forget about these things like the US Open and how she traveled when she had a newborn. And remember when she traveled somehow, even though the royal family held her hostage and took away her passport, and yet somehow she found her little tush at the US Open.
Yeah.
That's weird. Unless she's a teleporter and we don't know about it. But my point is, we wouldn't be talking about this and bringing up things from the past if she just didn't do this stuff.
That's exactly it. We're not seeing someone who's displayed that they're a good mother and they're going to fly the flag. It's like hopping on a movement that should be a good movement and tarnishing it just by simply being there because you have no business being there.
All right, moving on to the main topic for today. As usual, there's a cycle with announcements of a possible reconciliation. Oh, Prince Harry wants to reach out and mend fences, and he wants to talk. He's worried about Princess Catherine's diagnosis and her health, and he wants to mend things with the royals. We get this every now and then. It's been going on for years.
It sounds like a typical news cycle, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been happening again, par for the course. Especially now that Harry, at least we know that Harry is going back in May for some Invictus 10th anniversary event. Now, initially it was said that Meghan and the children would be joining him, but now Meghan is after, because they put out feelers. That's what they do. It's like a last Christmas when they're like, we'd love to be invited, wink, wink. And then they hear nothing. And then they go, well, we didn't want to go anyway. It's pretty much...
That's exactly it.
It's pretty much what's happening again right now. So she's like, they put it out there. Oh, the kids, and we'll come. And then nothing, silence. Probably some behind the scenes phone calls that we don't know about that went south.
Yep.
And now we're hearing well, I didn't want to go anyway. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe in the UK and my kids are not safe. This is Meghan. So we're not going to go, which the typical toddler tantrum. But... every time these reconciliation rumors float up, we get the usual kind of uproar from the audience. And I used to be one of these people because when it was new, I would believe it. And I would kind of go, what? How could they reconcile after everything they've done? And I'd get fired up. But then I realized this is just PR fluff being put out there by the Sussexes to, again, as I said, test the waters, put their antenna out. Yeah,
because I think that if it was coming from the royal family, thus legit, we wouldn't be hearing feelers about it. I think it would just happen. It would just be like, oh, this is what's happening. But if there's lots of talk about a suspected rumor, especially when the rumors keep building and circulating and going around, and especially when you've heard it again for the millionth time, it's probably not true.
Absolutely. And this familiar pattern of Meghan then throwing a hissy fit when the feelers don't come back, with positive feedback, it's happening with the reconciliation rumors. So now we have Meghan Markle can never forgive royals and fears Harry will be made a fool of.
He is, but by you.
I mean, can we get like a standing ovation for that? Because I feel like we can just end the episode right there.
Should have saved that for the last line.
That was epic. That was a mic drop moment.
Hey, please don't drop my microphones. I like these microphones.
So yeah, I'm not going to read the whole article. It's article after article. Honestly, it's not the only one, but I have here one open in front of me from Daily Record. And yeah, apparently Meghan's like, don't do it, Harry. William's going to make a fool out of you. It actually says, Meghan knows she's facing a losing battle when it comes to Harry reaching out to Kate and William, again calling her Kate. That's how you know it's from Meghan, by the way. That's
I was
another.
just thinking that. Yep. If an article says Kate, Meghan wrote it.
Or yes, at least behind it. For the most part, there are a few annoying American publications that would probably say Kate Middleton still, but she's been she's been Catherine, the Princess of Wales, or the Duchess of Cambridge. She's been married for 13 years.
Yeah, at this point, it's either willful ignorance or just willful disrespect.
So she says, she knows that, he's trying to reach out to fix things, but she thinks he's making a big mistake. She obviously feels sympathy for, I'm going to correct here, Catherine, and what she's going through, but in her mind, it doesn't change things. So we've always known Meghan and Harry have been demanding an apology.
Yep.
For what? We don't know. It's so funny. They keep saying it publicly. Even I believe in Harry's interview with Tom Bradby last year, Bradby asked him, well, for what? And Harry just doesn't elaborate.
Oh my God.
He probably doesn't know himself. He says things like, oh, they know what they did.
Oh, right. Okay. That's
so this pattern aside, these games, these PR games aside, the main topic for this video is basically, here's why this reconciliation will never happen. And no, it's not because the royals don't want it to happen. And I do think they don't. I think all of them, there are even rumors that Queen Camilla has banned Beatrice and Eugenie from the palace because they've been seen as spies for the Sussexes.
That's good. I like that.
If it's true, yeah. If it's true, go Camilla.
Yeah, that would be amazing. But I just can't see any person who's experienced the pain of having a horrible person in their life before, someone who causes chaos left, right, and center, and who's just trouble endlessly, and then they've cut them out and distanced themselves. If they were genuine in that, then they never want them back. And I feel like that's what the royals feel towards Harry and Meghan. Like, why would you ever let them step foot in the palace ever again if you could help it?
Absolutely. I completely agree, which is why this PR reconciliation bull is just fluff. It's just wishful thinking. It's manifesting.
Yeah.
Her favorite. Apparently she manifested her meeting with Harry. So
rather than hard work and dedication or anything else that any decent human person would do.
So, but the reason that I don't think a reconciliation will ever happen, I think that this is all just to make Meghan and Harry seem still relevant, still connected, and also putting out feelers. I don't think Meghan wants a reconciliation. Let's all remember the narcissistic, I'm going to say narcissistic abuser in general. I'm not labeling her in that way, but it's a very typical tactic. Isolating your victim is a very typical tactic. It's their MO. And again, not saying she is a narcissistic abuser, but she displays the same, traits of love bombing her target, Prince Harry, and then excommunicating him from his support network, from everyone who loves him and wants the best for him.
Yes, if someone was to present evidence that she was doing this, there would be plentiful.
Yeah. So I'm not saying Harry is her victim. If anything, he's her willing victim. He's very much complicit in our eyes. I don't like it when people blame Meghan for everything because Harry's a grown man. He's 40 years old and, he's responsible for going along with, he's an enabler. He's just as, in the law, with conspiracy to commit crimes, the conspirators are just as liable. They're just as guilty. So why would she then, after all the effort to infiltrate the royal family, to get Prince Harry, to marry him, and then to remove him, why would she want to go back? I know there's an argument that it's for her clout, her royal clout, which has obviously run out. But I think more important than her royal clout is to her, I'm just surmising here, I don't know this for a fact. I think to people like Meghan, the most important thing is keeping control of what they deem valuable to them. Maintaining control. She's a control freak. She's admitted to that. And so by mending fences or bridges, she'll lose that grip on Harry, if he once again assimilates back into his family life, if he has, if he feels like he can turn to his father or his brother again, Meghan would worry they would whisper things in his ear.
If I was William or King Charles or anyone who was close to Harry in a supposed reconciliation, that's the first thing I would do. I would try, if I was King Charles, I would try and save my son. Even though he has done a lot of the horrible things himself, I would try to save him from the clutches of this woman. Because to them, especially if they've still got a soft spot for him, less William, of course, because we know that William's had it and that should be the right response. But this will be one of the few times where Meghan will actually suspect something correctly, because people would want Harry to not be under her clutches. And were they to separate and were Harry to join the fold again, then what clout would she have at all? She wouldn't have anything going for her. She'd probably do the media rounds of, oh, divorce this, oh, he was horrible to me. And suddenly Harry becomes the enemy. But he's her bargaining chip.
I completely agree. In addition to those children, but I think Harry more so. Because the children are almost a non-entity at this point. People say she's using them as a bargaining chip. Like, oh, we won't come. You won't see the kids if you don't give us whatever. Harry lost the security case, so that's gone now. But she fails to consider the most important part, which is the royal family hasn't developed any feelings for these children.
Yeah.
They don't know them. I mean, there are rumors. There are not rumors, but there is... some concern that King Charles has never even actually met Lilibet.
I would believe it. I absolutely would, because again, that's Meghan maintaining control, as you were saying.
But you can't use something as a bargaining chip if the other side has no interest in it.
Well, maybe this comes back to her absentee motherhood. Maybe she doesn't understand how that relationship would work. I mean, she doesn't seem to understand how a lot of relationships work because she's more set on breaking them or using them. But maybe she doesn't understand that in order for someone to value someone else, they need to get to know them. Yeah. And if they've never met the children, then you've got nothing to offer. Yeah,
you make such an excellent point. You're right. She probably doesn't even know what it means to form bonds with people. It's all about utility. She's a utilitarian, a Machiavellian person. And so to her, she just sees those kids as something to use. And she's completely missed the point of family relationships and bonds and love, and not just family. You can form stronger relationships with friends than your family sometimes. So that's a very excellent point. But I suppose the question is, I mean, I'll pose it to you first before but of course, Chip, feel free to, the point is for you to comment and let us know what you think. What do you think is more important? Her royal relevance, so gritting her teeth and going ahead with a reconciliation, at least on surface level, to maintain the royal connection. And by that, I mean, maybe they visit, on special occasions and holidays, but otherwise they're in the US, or maintaining complete control at all costs.
For Meghan, she wants to be queen. And her definition of queen would be very different to that of what King Charles would consider it, what Queen Camilla would consider it, and what the late Queen Elizabeth would consider, which is Meghan only thinks it's about control. So Meghan only wants to have pawns around her. That's what she wants. That's all she needs to survive. She wants narcissistic supply. She wants people to constantly be doting on her hand and foot. These are the things that Meghan wants. For her, she thinks, and is as evident by the whole Megxit thing, she thinks she can do this without their help. She thinks she can do everything and be her own queen. And regardless of the fact that she has failed at every turn and will fail again and again and again and never succeed because she is classless, lazy and talentless, because everything she's invested in has been like, Meghan, what? You don't do this. This isn't something you do. Grasping at straws, throwing things at the wall, hoping something will stick. She'll never get it if she hasn't got it already. So she'll continue playing this game because she's delusional, I guess. I mean, because anyone else in this situation, of right mind would be able to say, this tactic isn't working. I've heard it said, I don't know if this is correct, but the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think that she would rather maintain complete control than play nice just for show?
I don't think she's capable of anything else. I don't think she's capable of playing nice, because the moment she rocked up in the royal family, all hell broke loose.
Yeah, you're right. Because it's really reflected even in Courtiers, the book by Valentine Lowe. I always thought she played nice until the wedding day. You read that book, you realize the moment she set foot within the palace grounds, way back in 2016, when she was just a girlfriend of a few months, not even a long-term girlfriend. You know, I'm not diminishing from the status of a girlfriend, but a brand new, you know, still in the realms of it could be a fling, you know, and she still bossed the staff around, made ultimatums, threatened Harry left, right, and center just to get her way.
Yep. So these people, they don't know how to play nice. The closest they come to playing nice is walking down a carpet and smiling. And even then they struggle. People who watch the wedding, some people just knew something was off.
You did, yeah.
You know,
I think we both did, to be fair. She was very robotic, yeah.
Yeah, even then, in the ultimate just play nice situation, right? And she still couldn't do it then, let alone every other situation. The red carpet where her assistant was like, all right, you have to move along. And it's like, she couldn't even play nice then.
Well, her version of playing nice was kind of laughing as if they shared a private joke.
But that's just it, right?
But then the woman left, either quit or was fired.
And that's just it. She is incapable of doing it in the most small and meaningless circumstances, or even the circumstances where the world is watching you walk down the aisle in a wedding dress. You would think you could put it on just a little bit.
Well, especially an actress, right?
Right. So she can't do it, and she never will. She'll never put herself in that situation. I think she is probably delusional enough to think that people will come after her in the royal family, that people will have talks with her and be like, hey, why did you do this? But I think the royal family wants nothing to do with her either way. I think if there was some reconciliation, they would just be concerned about Harry. Yeah,
that's a good point. But I think this if this headline, Meghan Markle can never forgive royals and fears Harry will be made a fool of, long headline, is to be believed, as in the sense that this is what she's putting out now, then it basically confirms that she has zero interest in reconciliation. She's just using it to be relevant in the news, to be in the headlines, and to, I suppose, even remind people who aren't in the know that, oh yeah, that's right, the royal family did something to her. I forgot about that because she wants an apology. It's kind of brainwashing in a way as well.
Yeah, and I do wonder, because from what I understand, everyone hates them except that small little cult group that it's like, no, I was a Meghan fan from the beginning and I will never change my mind and never admit that I was wrong. But other than that, I think everyone's kind of jerried on.
Yeah, no, everyone's over it. And that's the curse of being on the world stage. Meghan was able to get away with her, machinations and just shenanigans for so long. Is it machinations or machinations?
I have no idea.
I'm going to Google it. You guys know I'm not above doing that on camera. It looks like machinations. Okay, so we can't, I don't know if it comes up did it come up in the recording, you think?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
Capturing.
Well, the breakdown of it, says machinations. Okay, so that's what we're going to go with. She was able to get away with all of that because she was a nobody.
Yeah.
No one fact checked. Mm-hmm. No one bothered. She wasn't important enough, and she wasn't in our faces long enough for anyone to see through.
Yeah.
As well. And so she got away with it for so long, because people say, oh, she was so agreeable and so happy before Harry, and Harry ruined her, or they ruined each other. No, she was always this way. It's just when you're on the world stage with the harsh spotlight on you, there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah. What's crazy is talking about this and how, the internet never forgets, or, the world stage never forgets. She acts like everyone forgets. She acts like, oh, everyone's going to forget that. It's almost as if she doesn't know how ridiculous she's being, because she forgets the things she's done, because she's being so impulsive that she just moves on to the next thing. I did this. Oh, it backfired. Now I'm doing this.
Yeah.
What backfired? What was that? No self-reflection whatsoever, which again is the hallmark of someone with a lot of narcissistic tendencies.
Yeah. No, you're right. She absolutely, her type. She's not the only one. That's what's good about talking about Meghan. I see it all the time in the comments. People learn about these types of personalities. It's not just Meghan. I mean, I know a Meghan in my life. We know a Meghan. You know, it's like there are people who are even worse than Meghan, and we would know. They all behave like they all work out of this same playbook because, you know, with personality disorders, and we're not diagnosing her, but disordered people tend to display the same symptoms, I guess. It's like when you catch a cold and you have the same symptoms for the most part.
Yeah, except that unfortunately when it comes to these circumstances, it's not just a flu shot. You know, it's not just something that can be treated. These things, especially untreated, fester and grow into, well, Meghan Markle.
Yep, worldwide malignancies. So let us know what you think. I'm really interested to know if you think a reconciliation to fill up the royal clout gauge is more important to her than controlling Harry 100%. Would she forego that control or 5% of it even just to be seen again on the balcony? Or I don't think they'd ever put her on the balcony, to be fair, but just to be invited again? Or is it control at all costs? Let us know what you think. Anything else you want to say?
I said my best line in the middle of the episode.
You mean the mic drop?
Yeah. So I can't top that.
All right, well, I guess we'll close it here then. Thank you all so much for joining us this week. Only 3 away. Well, we have 2 more until the 100.
Yep.
Yeah, have a great week ahead of you. Hopefully I'll see you in a solo video later this week. And until next time.
We'll see you then.